This is Hannibal here with Piper, who's going to assist me with my Wrestling Observer review today. So let's get into it. There's a lot of news this week. Writer Kenice Mobley has been released by WWE after making some statements regarding not knowing the name of the WWE champion on Raw. Yes, there's multiple WWE champions. There's I believe, over 20 titles. It's hard to keep track of. She also bragged on a podcast that she was hired for her comedy writing abilities and did not know anything about wrestling. So in other words, that's like if Curb Your Enthusiasm or Seinfeld hired me to work for them as a wrestling person, me working on a comedy show, and expected me to be able to write good comedy. It's just not going to happen. I don't know why WWE insists on hiring non-wrestling people other than they just want to be more corporate and they don't like to be a wrestling company. They like to say, quote, from Stephanie McMahon, she always says their expertise is storytelling, end quote. They do storytelling better than anyone else, which is a load of bull crap. Their storytelling is crap. They want to call their talent performers, not wrestlers. That's the only reason I could see why they like to hire the non-wrestling people, why they need so many of these writers. I don't know, but wrestling's not changing for the better. WWE made a bunch of cuts today. They released a bunch of people that no one could really be surprised at any of these guys. I only know a few of them. Fandango was the best known of them. Tyler Breeze, Tony Nese, Araya Davari, August Gray, Everrise, Kurt Stallion, the Bollywood Boys, Arturo Ruiz, Marina Shafir, Killian Dane were also released. Again, I don't really know any of these people. I had met the Bollywood Boys at a Harley race camp in 2008. Kurt Stallion, there is a match of his on this channel from the Iowa Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame a few years ago that they let me post. He wasn't impressive then. I don't know why WWE took him. And yeah, there was others released too that I didn't write down here, but pretty much all nobodies. None of them I could see really making big money on the independents other than Fandango and Tyler Breeze. They'll be able to probably ask for higher booking fees on the independents, but the others aren't going to draw flies on the independents. Becky Lynch has apparently been training at the Performance Center and is expected to return soon. Paul Orndorff, who's 71 now, as I already reported here this week, is suffering from dementia. His son posted a video about it, which apparently his friends didn't approve of, which is why I took the video clip. I had only posted a small clip from the video on this channel as part of my news. But I took it down after one of Paul's friends told me he didn't want it up. So I guess there's a bit of a division between Paul's immediate family, his son and his ex-wife, or I don't know if it's still his wife, could be his wife, and his friends. Brian Clark, 57. There is an interview with him on this channel. He wrestled as Adam Bomb and Wrath. Had some charges against him that were dismissed on June 21st. As I already reported, Sunny, a.k.a. Tammy Sitch, WWE Hall of Famer, 48, was released from her most recent prison stay, June the 9th, after being incarcerated in New Jersey for almost a year. This was due to continuous violations related to drinking and driving, other alcohol-related issues, as well as eluding a police officer, violating a domestic violence restraining order, and operating a motor vehicle well under a second driver's license suspension. PW Insiders reported that WWE is going to Boston September 13th, which is only going to be about 5 days after AEW runs the same market, a smaller building. WWE is also booked Madison Square Garden September 10th, which is right before AEW runs the New York market on both September 15th and September 22nd. WWE only rarely does TV tapings in Madison Square Garden. The last one they did that was a SmackDown, I think Kofi Kingston headlined, and it was their lowest drawing TV taping ever in that building. However, WWE hasn't been to New York for a long time due to the lockdown, so I definitely expect them to have a great crowd for that show. Frankie Manette told Wrestling Inc. that she wanted to use her Taya Valkyrie name in WWE, but WWE wouldn't let her. Of course, there's a ton of Taya matches on this channel, both from PCW Ultra, who I have a working agreement with, and World Class Pro Wrestling, who I have a working agreement with. So if you just search up Taya Valkyrie, the Hannibal TV, there's tons of matches on there. I do like her as well as her husband, John Morrison, who there's also a lot of matches on here. There's actually a match with Taya and John Morrison against Tessa and Daga from PCW Ultra on this channel. NXT this week did 665,000 viewers and a 0.1718 to 49 rating. AEW last week only did 552,000 viewers, but had a higher 18 to 49 rating than NXT. They did a 0.2. Raw did a 0.49 this week. SmackDown last week did a 0.54. Impact did a 0.03 rating featuring Kenny Omega. So obviously not a big ratings hit. AEW has a pre-sale of 950 tickets, or for Dynamite this week. And their Dynamite taping next week is not selling as well, according to this. In other wrestling news, a beautiful lady who I interviewed last week, Jennifer Santana Haas, the daughter of Tito Santana, she won the American National Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Championships on June 23rd. Congratulations to her. She is currently training in Las Vegas with Jeff Cobb for her world-class pro wrestling debut. So I would consider her a friend, and congratulations to her. Very proud of her. She's also a two-time world BJJ champion. Meltzer also notes here that Jerry Jarrett and Eric Embry are rumored to be involved with the relaunch of World Class Pro Wrestling. And speaking of Eric Embry, he did do an interview on the World Class Pro Wrestling cast, the World Class Pro Wrestling podcast, World Class Cast, yesterday. That has been very well received. That is on this channel, as well as the World Class Pro Wrestling official YouTube channel. And they are relaunching, of course, this fall, starting with September 19th in San Antonio at the Grand Events Center. And then they are going to be in Wichita, Kansas, October the 3rd. Shane Douglas is going to be on both those events. The Blood Hunter is going to be on both those events. Stephan Bonner, UFC Hall of Famer, will be on the October 3rd event, as well as Jacob Fatu. And I know that Scorpio is also going to be on the September 19th event. So things are looking good for world-class pro wrestling. Melissa Coates, who was a well-known fitness model and bodybuilder before getting into wrestling, passed away at 50 on June 23rd. She had major health issues in recent years, including severe blood clots, which caused her to have one of her legs amputated last year, sadly. This was due to a life-threatening health situation. Melissa Coates was from Thunder Bay originally, a place where Great North Wrestling has gone a couple times in Ontario, but she had been living with Sabu in Las Vegas. They've been together for, I believe, over a decade. Meltzer points out that Coates did a cameo in 2005 on the WWE Backlash pay-per-view where Chris Masters put her in the Master Lock Challenge. She also hung around the Ohio Valley Wrestling and Deep South development territories, which whereas I first met her in Deep South when I was there as well. Meltzer brings up that Melissa was involved in a Deep South wrestling practice that led to the firing of controversial trainer Bill DeMott. This session took place in 2006 and was kept secretive. It actually I was there for this controversial session, which was one of the weirdest things I ever saw in pro wrestling. It was actually in October 2006. And Meltzer goes on to say it was in Deep South Wrestling where DeMott was in charge of a practice where he held jelly donuts over the faces of both Melissa Coates and Zack Ryder, also known as Matt Cardona, with Drew Hackinson, a.k.a. Doc Gallows, who was completely naked and took turns giving each of them stink faces until all the jelly was out of the donuts from this. I forget if there was 1 or 2 boxes of donuts. And this was really weird, is all I can tell you. And it was, I actually felt bad for Melissa Coates. She was managing Drew Hackinson at the time, and they gave her this gimmick of being called the garbage lady. And all of the non-contract talent were treated like garbage in Deep South. There was only 2 or 3 of us at this time. Melissa was one of them, and she definitely was treated like garbage, as was I, by the contract wrestlers. But I did think that having Drew Hackinson naked in the ring, completely butt naked, other than his hands over his dick like that, giving these people stink faces, was over the line. I mean, Zack Ryder volunteered for it, and he appeared to enjoy it. He actually appeared to enjoy having that guy's ass rubbed in his face. There was a big smile on his face after. But I thought it was very degrading that Melissa was involved in it. And I'm actually surprised they hired Bill DeMott back after firing him. Just because this is one of the reasons I think why WWE has like a permanent feed to their training center in Triple H's office now in Titan Towers in Connecticut to make sure they know exactly what's going on with the training. Because I don't remember ever seeing anything like that in the dungeon when Bruce Hart was training me or at Jacques Rougeau's school. In MMA news, UFC 263 did 475,000 pay-per-view buys on ESPN Plus, and another 100,000 the rest of the world. So total of about 575,000 pay-per-view buys. The Professional Fight League, June 17th, with Rory McDonald in the main event against Gleason Thibault, only did a 0.02 rating and 62,000 buys. I did grapple with Rory McDonald a few times back when I was training at TriStar and did some takedown drills with him, and I like him, but his career, they were at one point billing him as the next GSP, and he never quite made that level, but I did really enjoy the couple of training sessions I had with him. I was honored to practice with him. Anderson Silva, 46 years old, beat 35-year-old Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in an 8-round split decision boxing match last weekend. However, the show did an estimated 3,700 TV pay-per-view buys, which is not good at all. They are talking about having a fight in Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas on September 11th, De La Hoya versus Vitor Belfort. And that is the Wrestling Observer news. I'll skim through your comments. Of course, the big news of the day in UFO news was the Senate Intelligence Committee report came out, and they did not confirm or deny that these unidentified flying objects could be extraterrestrial in nature. They did say that if it is Russia or China leaping us in technology, it's unlikely, because these things have been cited for a long time, and I find it hard to believe that, for instance, the Tic Tac videos from 2004, if some country had that back in 2004, 15 years ago, and they haven't taken us over by now, I don't know. I find that hard to believe. More data needs to be collected on these UFO incidents for sure, and this is a step in the right direction. There was a classified and unclassified version of the report, by the way. Obviously, the unclassified version is the one that went public, but neither were definitive on what any of these sightings were. Victor Murphy tips me $5 and says it's his birthday. Can I talk about attacking Haku and retiring Terry Funk, or putting Lanny Poffo in the Kimura? Woo, WCW, thanks for the memories. Thanks for the memories, WCW, as well. Attacking Haku, I don't remember attacking Haku. I did get in a confrontation with him, but I didn't actually attack him. I had Stephan Bonner, who coincidentally is the world-class pro wrestling champion. He was backing me up, and Haku had the Barbarian with him. So it was more of a pull-apart. There was never actually anything settled related to that dispute I had with Haku. Retiring Terry Funk, I slapped him around, and he was never seen in wrestling again. Maybe I'm the reason for his own mental health issues these days. Maybe those slaps. But keep in mind, he did hit me in the head with a picture frame that was glass, so the slaps were well deserved. Lanny Poffo in the Kimura, I should have broke his arm. I really should have broke his arm. Hi to your favorite skit. Hello, Maria. Chris loved the Eric Embry interview. Nicholas. He's checking in from Palm Bay, Florida. Crackman laughing at WWE calling their wrestlers storytellers. It's just so bad. I really hope World Class Pro Wrestling does what they say they're going to do and brings back a wrestling-based product. There's also PCW Ultra returning in the fall, which is going to be an ECW style product. And then there's companies like Battleground Championship Wrestling running the ECW Arena September 18th that I'm going to be covering. So hopefully some of these new products will present a good alternative, because none of the TV products right now seem to be a good alternative. Gerardo checking in from downtown Milwaukee. I've never actually been to Wisconsin yet. Stevie, can't wait for Great North Wrestling to return to Quebec. When will tickets be released? Once that event is finalized, tickets will be released, but they're not going to allow indoor events in Quebec until the fall. So it's not going to be for a while that we release tickets. There is going to be a Great North Wrestling taping in Montreal, though, in association with the Montreal Fight League, July 24th, where the Blood Hunter is going to put the Texas title on the line against Jeremy Prophet. And there is going to be a women's championship match on that event. It's going to be recorded July 21st. Rolo says WWE trying to be woke, backfired. I don't think anybody cares, to be honest. I don't think that woman saying she watches WWE or not is going to affect ratings one way or another. All it does is reveal how stupid they are to hire people that don't know anything about wrestling to write wrestling. Jay, the person in the thumbnail, is the anti-white, I guess, writer that they fired. She was also putting on social media weird stuff about white people. Maria talks about WWE coming to Pittsburgh. AEW is also coming to Pittsburgh. B40 says Bruce Pritchard might be out as SmackDown head writer. Well, there is a head writer of WWE programming, and it's not Bruce Pritchard. It's some woman, another woman that has nothing to do with writing. Hurricane Maverick Alexander would love to see WWE go out of business. I don't think that's going to happen in our lifetime, but they're going to be less and less popular. David Piper appeared at the start of this interview, or at the start of this stream. She's now sleeping. Mike, watch the start of this stream if you want to see Piper. I'm not going to wake her up again. Anthony thinks Michael Cole should be at the top of the list to be fired. They should keep getting rid of they should honestly fire a lot more people. They have way too many. We don't even, sorry, out of all those people fired, I knew like 3 or 4 of those names. So if I don't even know their names, they're not over. They're just people you have to pay. So I fully agree. Fire them. Fire a lot more of them. Danny did not like Tony Atlas on Legends House. I didn't see any of Legends House. David Rich wants to see me wrestle the Goon. Don't hold your breath on that. Wildcat says Flair is still looking great. Flair is still the most entertaining thing in WWE. Herb says another great update. I did do an interview with Herb Simmons earlier this week. He's getting an award at the Bruiser Brody Cup coming up November 5th and 6th in Carthage, Texas. I'm going to be there as well. It's going to be by far the biggest wrestling fan fest in Texas of 2021. Honky Tonk Man is also going to be there. Someone just got off the WWE Thunderdome. Good. Congratulations to you. Al says is not a fan of Sunny. She is. I just hope she doesn't kill somebody. Same with Buff Bagwell. I really hope they don't kill somebody. Where is Draws, the third member of LOD's handicapped? D'Lo Brown broke his neck, dropped him on his head, and he got massive amount of money for WWE from that. Somebody says Virgil charged Brooke Hogan $20 for an autograph recently. I'm going to guess that was some type of joke. David, $1 Million Man, works for WWE. They don't let their talent do interviews with me. Somebody said JBL actually gave me a plug recently. So I appreciate that, JBL. And that same fan said you should get JBL on your show. But they don't let me interview any of their talent. David, the Slick interview is going to happen. I'll call him again tomorrow. I almost got it a couple times, but then he got sick and he didn't want to do it when he was sick. Then he moved because he's involved in ministry and he does some in Texas and some in Kentucky. So he moves around a lot. He keeps himself very busy. Mixed partial farts. Why does Jenny Santana have Haas in her name? Because Tito didn't raise her. Her mother's husband actually adopted her. But for wrestling purposes, since she is actually Tito Santana's blood daughter, that I guess he just didn't raise at all. And you can watch my interview with her if you want to know the whole story. She will use his name for wrestling purposes. Why not? When will the Blood Hunter defend the Texas heavyweight title? I just said July 24th. He will be defending it in Montreal against Jeremy Prophet as part of this Montreal Fight League taping, July the 24th. Rumar liked the Eric Embry interview from yesterday. Mixed Partial Farts says world-class pro wrestling and PCW will be sick. Steven loved the Eric Embry interview. Mike is a big fan of the Blood Hunter, who, by the way, if he can get past Jeremy Prophet, he will be defending that title in San Antonio on September 19th against none other than the legendary Too Cold Scorpio, who is as tough as ever and beat up the likes of Hawk in the past. Anthony putting over San Jose. Wendell, it's actually July 26th where gyms are supposed to open in Ontario from my research. I hope you're right and it's the 21st. I keep buying more and more equipment here, but I'm sick and tired of training at home. What's new with Shane Douglas? Well, he's going to be part of the World Class Pro Wrestling relaunch. Anthony giving the thumbs up to Mike D. John, what I said, if you missed my Wrestling Observer review last week, Jesse Ventura's agent agreed to a price. Then I posted that I was doing the interview, got great feedback. And then the next day, they wanted the deal changed to the first price. I wasn't going to make my money back. I'll admit it. I'm a mark for Jesse Ventura. I just wanted to interview him. But then to put it at a price where I'm guaranteed to not be able to afford, well, they're not good. Now he's getting nothing. So his agent is a scumbag, in my opinion. Eric, were the donuts tasty? To get back to that story, and again, I was not under contract. So I was never even offered to eat the donuts. The whole point of the donuts, to explain this to you people, to go back to this story. And I have told this story before, but it was the day after a Deep South Wrestling taping, and there was a match review in the morning. Then the afternoon there was a practice, or later in the morning there was a practice. And I believe the deal was somebody had to eat whatever, a box or two of donuts during the match review. And if they were able to successfully do this, they wouldn't have had to do the practice. Nobody offered that task to me. I could have easily done it. So instead, whoever was tasked with eating the donuts only ate about 3 of the donuts, which is just sad. And because there was still like a ton of donuts left, they came up with this idea of the naked donut stink face thing, which is just, I wish, I still have it in my head. I wish there is a picture of it, which I'll put up there now. I'll look it up there. Hold on. I'm sure it's still online because it became famous. But I wish you could see like exactly how all this went down, because it was so unbelievable. But let me put the picture up here. I told this story before that picture came out, and nobody believed me, but there is a naked Luke Gallows with just his hands holding his dick. There is Zack Ryder, who was actually loving this. He had a big smile on his face with Gallows' ass right in his face. And if you look to the left, that's big fat Bill DeMott. And just below Big Bill, you can see the donut box in between Zack Ryder and Bill. So Bill would walk. In the other corner on the opposite post was Melissa Coates. And on this corner, it was Zack Ryder. So Bill would hold the donut up in their faces till Gallows crushed all the jelly from the donut in each of their faces. And this went on for a while. So you can imagine that was a pretty crazy situation. Tyrus was a witness to that. MVP was a witness to that. Angelina Love was a witness to that. So there you go. Stevie TV says Zach is an ass man. Maria Davis, that was gross. Apparel, yeah, he was totally naked. And again, he had his hands like that over his dick. And David Taylor, who was one of the trainers there, said, "Why do you keep pretending you need 2 hands? All you need is 1 hand." I remember that. No, Al, they didn't have, Bruce Hart did not do that. So anyways, that was just weird. I actually left Deep South Wrestling right after that, because I realized at that point that yeah, I wasn't going to learn anything there. Carl says he wished he was a witness to that. And again, the funny thing was, this was before cell phone videos, but I'm positive there's more pictures of that because people were taking pictures. Yeah, I was there for that. I did train at Deep South Wrestling for a while. Was Pat Patterson there? No, but I'm sure he would have loved that. Al, yeah, it's going to be the Canadians against Montreal. Temple Dupril was the wedgie I gave the Montreal wrestlers planned. No. What happened was they were very rude, and they deserved that wedgie. But I've already talked about that. If anyone wants to see me give that guy a wedgie, just look up Hannibal gave the guy a wedgie. But the funny thing about that wedgie I gave the guy was it was actually an atomic wedgie. And when I got the band over his neck, the underwear band actually started choking him. So that was the funny part about it. Imagine dying from your own underwear band off of an atomic wedgie. But yeah, we got off topic. Have a great weekend.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates.